TikTok, it's time to rock. It's the 5150 show, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrew. I'm here in Hamilton, New Zealand, and we have next to me, all the way from Melbourne, Brad, the backdoor man. How are you, brother? Good to see you.
I'm doing well, Andrew. And yourself?
Not bad, not bad. Good to see you. Looking forward to this show, brother. We've got to do a couple of shout-outs, though, guys. There's a couple of things that we've got to make clear for you guys in YouTube land. We want to do a special shout-out to our co-host, Hoss, who can't be with us today. He said that he may get an opportunity later, ladies and gentlemen, to join us, but he certainly will be watching and catching up with the show in the chat. But Hoss, brother, thank you for all the good wishes. I want to also do a special shout out to Brad, my co-host, for posting some inspirational stuff, bro. You're doing well, you're looking good, and it's good to see that you're making some improvements, brother.
Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, look, every day getting better, every day just a little bit better every day. So you know, I can't complain. Practicing guitar every day, putting in more practice now than I probably have over the last 10 years. So, you know, at the end of this, I might come out a better guitarist for it. So we'll see.
What's the bet you will? What's the bet, bro? Look, thank you guys for tuning in. Brad's going to do a shout out later to everybody in the in the chat. If you guys have any questions for the guests that I'm going to announce soon, please fire your questions through into the chat, and we may get an opportunity to pass them on. But if you are watching a replay, and a lot of you guys do watch our channel on replay, thank you very much. We appreciate the subscriptions that you've been giving our channel. We appreciate the views. We don't take that lightly. We want you guys to understand that we are humbled by it, aren't we, Brad?
Oh, 100%, Andrew. Look, we couldn't be more grateful for the people that come and watch our shows after we go live, as well as the people that are in the chat and hang out with us, and you know, have their own little private chats and everything in the chat there. It's fun. It's great.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's probably a good opportunity for Brad and I to introduce to you. If you've read the show card, you guys know who we are going to introduce. It's a privilege for the show to have this guy on with us. He's been around YouTube for a long time now. We were just talking in the green room. If you hit EVH Guitar Lessons, his channel is going to come up in your top 3 searches for obvious reasons, because the information and the lessons that he provides, basically free, it's just unmatched and unparalleled in guitar lessons. So it's my privilege, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce to the 5150 show, Doug. How are you, brother?
You do. Can you hear me out there? How you doing?
Good to see you, brother. Thank you for taking time out to join us. Look, we've got a couple of questions that we're going to fire at you, bro. But this is your show. This is all about you, Doug. You're taking over the 5150 show, brother.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to listen to the first 4 Van Halen albums in a row, and then we're going to start again at the first song on the first album and go again and again and again and again until our brains pop.
Oh, my Lord. We'll certainly be doing something.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put this down, and we will chat.
Yeah. We certainly will. So, bro. We've got 12 people in the chat already. So like I said, guys, if you've got any questions for Doug,
hit him.
Please fire them through, and we'll get a chance to throw them up. But Brad and Doug, you guys are in the same city. Holy cow!
Yes, we are.
I know it's Melbourne just seems to be like this rapidly growing place of Van Halen nuts. It's there's so many here that are in the closet. They're all coming out now. So
Yeah, that's good because
you've been
it's
around
also
for a
good.
long time anyway, so people know who you are, mate. That's
Yeah,
not what
and
I'm
it's also
saying.
good because like some people like this era of Ed, some people like this era of Ed, and yet we can all get into a room and hang out, and no one's going to be there's no animosity. I don't think there is, and yeah, it's awesome to be part of an institution of like loving this one guy who set the rock and roll world on fire.
Well, Doug,
Yeah,
it's
I think
interesting. Sorry, Andrew.
yeah, I just wanted to back Doug up by saying that yeah, it's interesting that that people have mellowed down a little bit, I suppose, and that's one of the results I think of people realizing that music is a celebration now, not something that you beat people over the heads with.
Correct. Yeah, that doesn't help anybody. And while I don't really like the Sammy Hagar era, I'm not gonna bash it too much. And look, without getting too much into Sammy, like right off the bat, I do think he's a better singer than Dave. But as a person growing up, I just happened to listen to the first 4 albums. That's what my ear was accustomed to. So that's kind of what I gravitate towards. And that's when the striped guitars came out. And that was kind of my thing. And then I, obviously grew up and my musical tastes changed. And yeah, but Ed, he rocked, man. He was such, and even in the things that I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but even in the things that he didn't think, like, I don't think he meant to come out with a new guitar every year and stripe a new guitar, but it's so smart because you can just look at a photo and go, okay, that's this tour, that's that tour. It's awesome. And that's just one of the many things. Besides that, the artwork on the guitars, the mods that he made, the amplifier, like, dude, the 5150 Mark III, like that's in every recording studio that you go to now. Like, he's just a badass. That's all. Sorry.
I was going to back up what Andrew just said, and I'll say it. I think it's great now that it's great that everyone has their favorite era of Van Halen. But on this show, we're just trying to celebrate the music of Van Halen, whether it's the Sammy or the Dave era or even the Gary era. We love it all here, and surely we've all got our favorite sort of album and whatnot. But the beautiful thing about this community is everyone's now more celebrating and appreciating all eras of Van Halen, depending on, you can still have your favorite era and favorite album and whatnot, but it's just a wonderful thing. I mean, the internet has changed. There still are the cliche, what do we call them? People who are Dave, there's no Van Halen without, Dave, or Sammy. Or
right.
Taking sides it's not really what we're about here. It's all about, the music of Ed really was all eras.
And he rocked it the whole time.
And you said, Doug, like basically like your musical taste change, and that's the same thing with like Eddie. I'd say through the times, he would start to evolve and start to appreciate different types of music, and I think that did affect his songwriting as well, 100%.
Yeah, correct. Like you grow older, you change, and the music changes, and that's okay because you're constantly growing.
Exactly. I mean, I still love, like, the first album I rushed out to go and buy brand new was the Carnal Knowledge album, and I still love that record. But like, I'll go put sort of Fair Warning on. I'll go put Van Halen 2 on because I love those records. I love the guitar tones in those things, and I get a different sort of excitement to those records. Or 1984, for example, I love that. But then I love 5150. So it's just really what mood I'm in, and I think that's the beautiful thing about Ed and Van Halen is they just progressed as they went. They weren't trying to keep punching out Van Halen 2, for example, every
Correct.
album.
Yeah.
And I love that about Van Halen, that you can put on, you can be driving down the coast, say you're in Melbourne, so you're driving down the coast to Torquay to go to the beach, and you can put 5150 on and it's hello, baby, and it's got that sort of vibe about it. Or you're going out for a good night, or you got a gig on, you can throw Van Halen 2 on and rock your socks off. So
yeah, 100%.
It's interesting, bro, that you should mention 5150 because Doug Doug is a legend. He's the only Van Halen fan to take the 5150 album to his girlfriend's house and leave it there after playing it the first time. So
I bought it. I took it to her house. I listened to 30 seconds of each song. And then at the end of it, I just left it there and went home. And then I just got right into my thrash and Anthrax, Metallica, Megadeth. And then I just went down a path of thrash because I was a young, 18, 19-year-old kid. And it was just time to hear something more aggressive. So it's, for me, music, I like my metal and I like aggression. So the angrier it sounds, I'm kind of that's right up my alley.
Look, and I dig it, bro, because we've all got friends, and when I was a young guy listening to this kind of stuff too. I remember when I first heard Metallica, and when that first album came out, it's like, no, it was the second one. No, it was the third album. The third album came out, and I hadn't really heard of Metallica, and I remember going, I won't swear, but I remember going, what the hell is this? Because it was just so different, and it was Doug and Brad. That album was a line in the sand between all the other music that you were listening to with your friends, and then Metallica. Certainly for us here in New Zealand, it was a division, whether or not you liked it. And then I also remember, guys, when the Black Album came out, and how some of my friends who were Metallica friends back then didn't like it.
That's me. That's me.
But I liked that album.
But the good thing is that you're allowed. Everybody's allowed to just like what they like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, just the other day, I was having a chat to someone about Van Halen, and the usual topic comes up: what's your favorite album? What's this? And I basically said, look, my album taste changed regularly. Like I still, like I said before, Carnal Knowledge and the Van Halen 2 are probably more my go-to ones to go to. Like I would put Van Halen 2 on for Dave era, probably Carnal Knowledge for Sammy era out of favorite. But I can't really pick one. I came into Van Halen when Sammy was the singer, so it's a bit different for me. I guess if you came into it, and that there's perfectly nothing wrong with either side of it. But what I was getting at is the wonderful thing about the internet is everyone now is a little bit more open to it because Ed's actually passed, and we're all celebrating now his music, not taking sides. So, and I'm quite proud of us on this show, for example. We try to give an equal spread to all eras, including the Gary era, because after all, it is Ed. It is Ed's songwriting and Ed's music. So
100%.
Awesome. Hey, guys, I'm just going to do a quick couple of things before we continue with the show. Doug needs 80 subscribers before he gets to 20K. So I've put Doug's channel there in our stream. So if you guys are watching and you haven't subscribed to Doug,
please do.
Please do, because we would love, if we get a chance, we would love him to get 20K when he's going to hang out here with us on the 5150 show. So, and again, if you are watching the replay, oh my Lord, if you are watching...
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just got given food.
If you're watching the replay, I will have Doug's channel attached to it. And if you subscribe to his channel, tell him that the 5150 sent you so that he'll come back and do another show with us.
I'd love to.
And now I'm hungry.
Yeah, I haven't eaten, so I'm actually starved.
Okay, well, you grab a mouthful
on your show yet?
No, you do it, bro. You eat, because Brad's going to do a shout out to everybody. So get some sustenance in you, brother.
Yeah, I'll do a shout out to everyone. Before I do a shout out to everyone, I also wanted to say a big happy birthday to Philip Sace, good friend and amazing guitarist. So happy birthday, Philip Sace. All right, so we've got Helen O'Hara, we've got John ZD351, we've got Ellen V, who's my mother, We have got Gretch Zeppelin. Good to see you, Gretch. We have, who else here? We have someone, Jesus something me. I'm not going to announce that on our channel. Sorry, Jesus. We've got Helen Winter. We've got Jason Tong. That's who's commenting here, but we've got more people watching us. So jump in, send us some questions that you'd like us to ask Doug. And please give us some thumbs up while you're there. Andrew.
Yeah. So, bro, I think the fact that we've got Doug on here to talk to us, I just want to say one little thing too about Doug. I've been following Doug like a lot of us, I suppose, for a few years. Like I said on the intro, bro, when you want to learn Van Halen licks and you key that in, Doug's channel comes up. One of the great things about what Doug does, and there's lots of different levels of guitar lessons out there. If you just want to know the chordal variations of a song, those lessons, aren't there, Brad, where you can just play along. But if you want to know and understand the intricacies of what Eddie was what he was thinking about when he was doing a solo or something like that, certainly Doug's channel and his lessons give you that insight. And Doug, I've got to say this, one of the great things I like about being a music fan and a guitar player to a degree is that most of us can see bullshit when we see it. But when I see you and your channel, I see a guy living metal, living it. Music is your life and your core, and that shines through the sea of mediocrity when it comes to, personalities on YouTube, bro. So well done for being yourself and for being original, bro.
Thank you. Music is my life. One day I would like to be able to do my YouTube channel full time. So I'm trying to kind of go down that road. But look, I honestly think I wouldn't be born unless I could play music. Or am I saying that backward? But like all I want to do, if I could, all I want to do all day is write and record music. If I could do that every day for the rest of my life until I died, I would be insanely happy. And I'm sure tons of people feel like that. So that's kind of my goal. Yeah, see, that's kind of my goal, is that just one day I can just run and I work pretty quickly as well. So I would be pumping out album after album after album. But thank you for all the kind words, because I don't know anything else besides music. I don't want to know anything else besides music.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because Brad, clearly, one of the good things about what we did with this channel is we recruited Brad onto our channel, and he produced an EP. He's working on some original music too, Doug. And Brad gives us the insight on a lot of things that we do here on this channel from that mindset of a musician, which again, sort of just gives you a bit of that clarity maybe that you would have not thought about. And that's what we like, with our channel. You can listen to music and that's fine, but when you go and produce it, you're recording it like yourself too, and producing albums and writing songs, and then having to deal with the dynamics of being in a band, all these great things, that make bands, an interesting thing. We can talk a little bit about that later on, but I suppose, Doug, the big question that everybody gets to be asked when they come on this channel is, how and when did you discover Van Halen?
I discovered Van Halen in a really weird way. So I was living in Fresno, California. I'm 53, so if there's anybody out there that's my age, you might fall under the same kind of umbrella. But I was a massive Kiss fan. So it was really, Kiss was like my favorite, and nothing could touch them. I had 3 older sisters, so and they were like massive stoners, and they had like, their record collections were brilliant. Like I was listening to Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Brain Salad Surgery when I was like 5 and 6 years old. So, and I was kind of leaning toward, so I was like immersed. I saw Elvis when I was 6 or 7 in concert. So I'm just, And we were also fortunate to have like jukeboxes in our house. So we'd have a jukebox. So you'd wake up in the morning and you'd play, Black Dog, A5, boom. And I'd get dressed in front of the heater and listen to music. So I saw Kiss. I was right into Kiss. I had a bunch of their albums. And then on the radio, they were talking about this band from LA called Van Halen. And it was Running with the Devil. So I heard it and I was just like, this is cool, but it's not Kiss. So I would kind of push it away. And I'd see Eddie Van Halen in these 16 magazines, and which were magazines for girls, but they had they had Kiss in them, they had Van Halen in them, and these rad full page pictures of them. And I was still like, nah, don't care about the striped guitars. Not, it didn't really click through until much later, until I was maybe 12 or 13. And I heard You're No Good on the radio. We were taking my little brother to the dentist. And the couple of things that I noticed was that it was, it was in stereo and the guitar was panned to one side and the bass was panned to the other. I clued in on that. And then when I heard the solo, I was like, I don't know who this is or what this is, but I need to have this album. I need to own it. So they said, at the end of when they were back announcing, they said that it was Van Halen off the Van Halen 2 album, You're No Good. And I bought it relatively soon after that. And it's so funny. I had Van Halen 2 for about a year. And then when I finally got the first album and I heard Eruption, I was like, oh, it's like Spanish Fly, but on the electric guitar. And it's just, a bit goofy, but yeah, definitely that was the order of that's how I got into Van Halen. And pretty much as soon as I heard, that whole second album, I was pretty hooked. It was AC/DC and Kiss. And I was in that for a long time. And it was just, I'd get more into Van Halen and the other two bands would just kind of drop until where it was just nothing but Van Halen.
Yeah. How's your hot dogs? I was about to ask you, Doug, how your hot dogs are going there.
I still got one to go.
You munch into the other one. And Brad and I.
You guys chat, but I'm going to put it on mute so you have to hear my disgusting mouth noises because that's
it's gross. Like we're not going to stop a man from having something to eat. Trust me. Isn't that interesting, Brad? I think it's phenomenal when you hear about these guys who discover Van Halen at an early age. See, I was about 12 or 13 when I first heard Van Halen, so I didn't have the luxury of being exposed to Van Halen at a young age. But bro, I can't remember how old you were when you heard Van Halen the first time. Can you remind me?
Well, to be honest with you, it was more around 1984 and 5150. So 5150 was already out, but I was into 1984 because Jumper's being played all the time. And okay. I grabbed that record and I was into that. But Dreams was out on MTV or on I think would have been Rage or MTV. I can't remember what actual program it was on. It was on all the time. So I didn't realize it was a different singer.
You were a teenager though, weren't you?
Yeah, I was about 11 or 12. Yeah. So
early.
Yeah, and then obviously getting into Van Halen and then going backwards from 5150 to the earlier albums, then I realized that there was a different singer. I just thought it was the same singer singing really high or something. I wasn't sure, you know what I mean? So the album sounded a lot different too, because even though 1984 has got a bit of synth and stuff on it, obviously 5150 was a contrast, and 0U812 I never really got that till later. I never got 0U812 until after I got for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge. I got that later. I was sort of like an album I just went under the radar for me.
Awesome. So Brad, I'm going to fire a question at Doug. So Doug, like we said, you've got a reputation and developed, your personality on YouTube because of your guitar lessons, because of the way that you explain it, the no nonsense way. You just get in there, tune to this, and then you're in there and you're explaining what's going on. Jerry's got this interesting comment there where Doug's video on I'm the One is Awesome explains how the swing thing works. I think that's a fantastic comment. It's a fantastic video because we talk about swing often in rock and roll and people don't understand exactly what that means. But I'll dig out that video and put that in the link. But Doug, what gave you the idea that you were going to go and present your way of doing these lessons? Or was it because that you were sick and tired of seeing crappy lessons on YouTube and you wanted to right the wrong, or was it just something that you thought that you just had to do because you were a guitar player?
It's a hard one to answer because I was kind of done listening to Van Halen when I was like, I don't know, maybe 19, 20. And like I said, I was into thrash and like the Shrapnel catalog, which is like your Racer X, your Cacophony, your over the top shred player guys, Paul Gilbert, Jason Becker, those type of dudes. So I was kind of following that path and, sweep tapped arpeggios. So while I was continuing going that way, I think I was about 34 at the time. I messed up my back and I was at home a lot. Like I just had a back surgery, and it plays into my what's it called when you have my midlife crisis. So I'm like, wow, I have the chops now. I should go back to all those early Van Halen albums and learn them properly. And with the YouTube stuff, I saw time and again, teachers that were not playing it the way maybe I thought they should play. I don't know. I was just like, oh my God, he's doing it wrong. And it really upset me to where I was like, okay, I'm going to try. And I'm not even saying that all my stuff is like 100% bang on, because it probably isn't, but at least I will preface and say that I don't really know what's going on in this part, but I'll try to give you a heads up, because there's other dudes that have got that nailed and I follow them and then they give me the information. A lot of times I just pass, because it's just everybody learns from everybody else. But I think the reason why I also try to make my videos as short as possible is because, it's basically tune to this and let's get started. And it's because you want to know the Eddie Van Halen information. I'm just a dude that knows it and I'm just passing it on. I don't need to tell you my life history. So it's like, tune to this and let's get on with the lesson. If I have anything noteworthy to say or not, I'll leave it at the back of the lesson. So if you made it that far and you want a little bit extra, that's where I'll do the talking part. And then, we'll go from there. But for the most part, especially when I'm looking for stuff, I don't want to hear a dude crap on about his life, because I don't want to know about him. I want to know about the lesson that he's apparently at some stage gonna give me. Short and sweet, and let's just wrap it up. And especially now, everybody's time poor, everybody's attention spans are small. That's why I just and I'll take as long as it takes to cut 30 minutes down to 7. And I'll cut out what I think are really good jokes. I'll cut out stupid things I'll cut out breaths just to get it to where it's just like, bam, bam, bam. And you might have to pause it a bunch of times, or sometimes I'll take the one thing and replay it 3 or 4 times so you don't have to keep going back. But you're there for the lesson and not my life story. And you know what? I got a website for that as well. And not only that, my YouTube channel is not just me playing guitar and teaching, guitar stuff. There's my wedding is on there. Me being drunk on Jack Daniels is on there. Just everything, I kind of treat it as I'll just film whatever I want. And by all means, you don't have to watch, but it's there because I'm one of those open book kind of dudes.
That's amazing. I mean, I have to say, I respect the fact that you just do what's necessary, like passing the message on. And then you do, at the end of it, you'll talk about other things or your life or whatever it is about you after it, because there are videos that you go to and you go, I want to watch this and work out what this guy's doing, see if I'm right, wrong, or what I can fix. And you go there and they talk, they go through the tune, and they start talking about this. And you're like, man, where's the lesson start? That gets, And you are
and
right.
you're constantly scrubbing through and trying to find, okay, where's that first note gonna happen?
Yeah, and that we all are time starved these days because we all are under so much pressure to get things done. When you're trying to like take that time out for yourself to learn something, and I call it take that time out to learn something for yourself on guitar, because I treat guitar like it's a bit of a ceremony now. You sit down, it's your time with your instrument. You have that harmonious connection to your guitar, so that's your time. That's you don't want to waste it. You know, going listening to some bloke talking about their life, because you're not there for that. You're there to get that message that they're trying to get across, and that's admirable, because and it just goes to resonate with your authenticity online too, mate. So it's you are authentic, and that's why your channel is so successful, because you do go straight to the point. You're authentic, and you're giving yourself as you are. You're not putting on a persona.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not good. Thank you so much for subscribing, Helene O'Hara. Yeah, thank you. First off, thank you so much. But like, I'm not good at acting. I'm not good at playing the game when it comes to, band stuff or whatever. It's just like, give me, you don't talk in code. Just tell me, okay, am I just don't, I don't have time to play the game. I don't want you to play the game. Just tell me in direct English what exactly you want. Don't pad things out. Don't do any of this stuff. Get to the point, and I will do the same.
Yeah. Well, if anyone hasn't done so, please go and subscribe to Doug's channel.
Yes, please. I want to get over the 20K line.
Get up there. So, obviously, I've used your channel as a reference point for just myself, and that's what I did notice, that your lessons, like, you have to pause it because you're going through it so quick. It's like, hang on, I've got to consume this. But for people like myself that need to like absorb it a few times before you actually start learning, there's people that could just watch what you're doing and pick it up like that, which is amazing. Yeah. So that your channel is really good for that. It's really good.
Thank you. I just there's something in me that just doesn't want to waste people's time, and that's in real life. That's, I don't know where it comes from, but I don't want to be a nuisance. That kind of stuff. So thank you very much. And, I'm just going to keep, doing guitar stuff on my channel.
Doug, in the green room, you was sort of hinted towards some guitars, and then we said save it for the channel for when we start the live. Are you able to show us some of those guitars you've got there, or is it a good time?
Oh, dude, absolutely. We can go in whatever order you like.
Because I've been sweating waiting since you said it back in the green room about half an hour ago. So
okay. So I want to preface this by saying this is not my house. I'm at my friend Victor's house. Before we were filming, me and Ben, a close friend, you'd seen him on my YouTube channel. We came over to help Victor put a ceiling on his in his garage. So I think they're still down there doing some stuff, but we're close to done. But so I met Victor through YouTube as well, and found out that he lived like right down the street from me. So he's a big Van Halen dude. I'm a big Van Halen dude. We got together. Actually, the first time we met, that's on YouTube. But he's made me every Van Halen guitar that I own. So I'll show you the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. This is his. This is the Mexican Frankenstrat. It's I think they're like maybe 1,600 out here in Australia, but I'm telling you, it is an amazing guitar. You can actually hear him drilling downstairs. But this is really good value. Like these are great guitars. So don't let made in Mexico fool you. They do a really good job. Okay.
I actually think they've gone up a bit in price now too. They've actually gone up.
Yeah, because of Eddie's passing, or
or
just in general.
In general, I think the cost of everything's gone up as well. But I think since Ed passed, everything seems to have gone up a little bit in price.
Yeah. So this is the first guitar. My wife actually liaised with Victor. This was my first striped guitar, and Victor made this for my 40th birthday. And Yeah. So it's a Mighty Mite neck. And it's yeah, like, and it's just, I don't know where it's basswood body, but yeah, Victor did the painting and it looks lovely. It's the first one. And then we got closer as friends. And then I basically forced him to make me the star guitar. And we didn't, I forget why, but we didn't want to use the Dan Electro neck.
Right. Okay. Yep.
And so what we did was we did a reverse headstock, and he just took the graphic on the body and just kind of, and we didn't know what the back looked like either. So Victor just kind of took creative license, because if it was up to me, he wouldn't have even had to have painted the back of the star, because no one's going to see it. I'm one of those dudes. It's like, you don't have to go all out, go 80% out, and that'll be the end of it. Now, this is the one. Oh, this is okay. So I'm in a metal band and we play 7-string guitars, and we're tuned to standard. So I bought an Ibanez something or other, 7620, I believe. Wow. And Victor did it in Bumblebee. I'm still tempted to have a neck made in maple, just to really kind of drive the point home. But currently, we're making one last 7-string guitar for me, which is the Frankenstrat. It'll be a 7-string Frankenstrat with a maple neck, and it'll be reverse headstock. It'll be painted. The headstock will be painted like the body, and just to drive everybody nuts, we're going to put a Kramer decal on it.
Oh.
This is Victor made this one as well for himself. It just looks like a really, beat to shit early Frankie. He's got the quarter on there and everything.
Yeah, beautiful.
Hey, Pete.
This, look, when it comes, I got to be honest. So this is an Ernie Ball music, man. I don't know which era. Like, I'm really dumb when it comes to guitar eras and things like that, whereas he could rattle off a whole bunch more information than I could. But this is one, Victor, he also does a lot of, he's going to buy it and he's going to sell it. He had a Stealth, and I wanted to choke him out because he sold it not too long ago. I'm like, dude, that's an amazing guitar. And he's like, oh, I wanted something else. So he's one of those guys. Not all the time. He'll keep the ones that he loves, and this is a PV Wolfgang. Oh, you like that? You like that, Andrew?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, look, they are. I do. You got to see this one. This is cool. I don't even know what this is. It's a.
Oh, that's cool.
EVH Wolfgang Special, looks like that.
Did Victor stripe that?
What?
Did Victor stripe it, or did he buy it already striped?
No, he bought it like this. Like, wow. I don't know anything about this guitar, but yeah, I think that'll do for now.
Excellent. So, Doug, have you got a preference of pickup that you put in to get that, like a close tone? No, you just go for it.
I don't. Yeah.
Hey, Tim.
I personally use bare knuckle Blackhawk pickups because they're like metal without, like, I don't use active pickups anymore. So a good strong passive is like the bare knuckle Blackhawks. I think like maybe a tone zone for, like, it's kind of like whatever's in there is good enough. I know a lot of people are like, oh no, you got to have this type of wound pickup with this amp using this cable. It's like, well, dude, at some point you just got to turn on the amp and just hit a chord, and that's what you have to deal with. That's what you got. Let's move on.
I like that way of thinking, because I think it's nice to get caught up a little bit in gear, but it's also like a rabbit hole. You can go down it and actually go backwards. You can actually start going backwards. Yeah. I think if you've got like for example, say you go buy a guitar and you start playing it and it sounds great, don't mess with it. Just leave it.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
If there's something about it that you don't like, you change it, of course. But in time, your ears get more sensitive or whatever. You might adjust your ears. You might want more treble. You want more mids, whatever it is. you can find a pickup to swap out maybe to rectify that. But for most of the time, you just find a guitar that works for you. If it's a bit sizzly, you can take the pickup out, make it a little bit warmer with a different style pickup, and that's it. That's all you really have to do. Yeah.
And just leave everything alone. And that's people also bug me in that, especially with digital gear, where they're like, oh, it should sound like Eddie Van Halen right out of the box with a preset. It's like, dude, everybody knows that presets they're garbage. And you have to really look into the manuals, read them back to front, and know your piece of gear before you start ripping on it on YouTube or a forum and have a cry because you're an idiot. They give you this computer that can do this rad thing, and because it doesn't do it in the first 2 minutes of you owning it, it sucks, and that's absolutely not the case.
But we're talking about Ed Van Halen. He used to find the sounds that were in his head. He didn't necessarily go buying stuff that had presets. He'd change things around. He'd swap things around until it was right for him. So, contradictory to what I was just saying before about just buying a guitar and leaving it, if he was lacking something, he found something. He didn't necessarily go looking for effects, this and that, to try and he'd just change it out on the guitar. He'd find it, make it work. And that's how the Frankie sort of eventuated, really.
Yeah. The ultimate tinkerer. And, you can think, did things that most people wouldn't try. You go, right, I'm going to try this. I'll try this with my amp. I tried all sorts of things. So 100%. Yeah. Yeah. If you're going to buy a piece of gear, be invested in it, tweak a knob and see what it does. Don't have a cry right off the bat.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that's one of the interesting things about YouTube is that it's a marketplace now, isn't it, for product, and a lot of guys and personalities are out there to try and be the first to get a product review of something out there. I get that. It's a commercial world that we live in, and a lot of these guys and girls that we follow make a living from it. But I think Doug's point, Brad, it's vital. You know, if you're going to buy a Headrush MX5 and you've downloaded a preset and it doesn't work, don't cry. Go and fiddle with it because
totally. And if you really want to get crazy, go ahead, go for it.
I've done that. I've done that with I've watched other videos. This guy Simpson that we follow, and he was talking about some Peter Green settings on a similar thing that I had on the THR, and it just didn't sound anything like Peter Green to me. But on his videos, it was sounding good. And I think this is the point, though, that we miss, and you were saying it before, Doug, in the green room. A lot of it comes down to these things.
Yeah. Like that. Look, gear is only going to take you so far, and good gear is great, but you don't even need really. You can get away with medium. I've got a Helix Light, and what I do is there's two ways I can run it. I can run it 4-cable method through my 6505 head, or I can run it as the amp unit through a power amp. But what I do is that I go to a rehearsal studio and I'll play it as loud as I'm going to play it with a drummer, and then that's how you tweak your stuff. Because it's having it at 2 on the volume, and you're going to be playing it at maybe 6. It's a totally different ball game. So you gotta do that kind of thing as well.
I love it,
and it's just
that. No, that's how I adjust my effects and everything, and I'm very limited with gear, like effect wise and that. But you have to make the adjustments at the volume you're going to be playing at.
100%. Yeah. And we do this. I have a bunch of friends that are in metal bands, and we get together and we do this thing called the Aftershockers, which is there's 20 of us, no, about 16 of us, and we'll do a show, and Iron Maiden will come on, and some people jump off and some people jump on, and then we play the song, and then another dude. And there's always a couple of Marshall amps there, and it's just it's just so nice to just plug straight into a Marshall and not have to worry about a boost or anything, and just kind of play the song and then get off stage and you're done. It's just nice to be able to just plug into an amp, play a couple of chords, and then just finish and not worry about having to step on this pedal or that pedal, because pretty soon You're shoegazing. You're not even looking at the crowd. You're not even into what you're doing because you're so busy, looking at your feet.
I've never been a big tap dancer. I prefer to work with my guitar and amp than pedals, to be honest with you. I've never been one of these guys that, I've tried digital gear and I just keep going back to an amp and a guitar and then a few effects for color, and that's it. That's all.
Yeah.
And the reality is, you can with digital gear get fantastic tones if you work with them. We're not missing digital gear. If Ed was still around and he was getting into Helix or all these other things that are around, I'm sure he would tweak with it to find what worked for him, not necessarily a preset.
Yeah.
There's a question in the chat from Johnny Heartbreaker, Doug. He wants to know, did you sell your Fender G deck?
No, actually, hi, Johnny Heartbreaker. I did not. It's actually right there. I've decided not to sell it just so I can keep doing the videos from home. But I did for my videos now. I bought the Zoom Q8N. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a couple of jacks here. I could actually run like a microphone into that one, and then into that one I could run like my Helix light and then just be like totally in your ears. But wow. I gotta buy cords and stuff like that. So I haven't done it yet. And you know what? Like, these microphones are pretty awesome as they are. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, I did have to, I've been told by my wife and brother-in-law that it's time to start reinvesting in the channel. So I've bought, the Rode mic and this as a new purchase. And I don't even know where I was going with this.
Well, I think you've done well, because I'm looking at your channel now and your thumbnails. You've gone through and you've re-edited your thumbnails, Doug. It looks good. Thank you. It's a good package. Yeah.
Yeah. My brother-in-law, who's into marketing, he's like, let's kind of zhuzh up your YouTube channel a bit. So he showed me how to do the thumbnails. So I do it myself now, and I'm doing the end cards at the end and all that, and just trying to put a bit more into it so that it doesn't look like
and being part of a YouTube channel here with Brad and Simon, I have to tell you that those little things that you do for your channel pay off, because look at our channel, Doug. Since we started having, edited thumbnails on our channel and having those end cards through the videos as well, it certainly works. You've got to just do a few little things, and you'll be surprised the results that you'll get. But certainly going through that camera, using that camera with your Helix and getting that sound sonically, people are going to love that, Doug.
Yeah. And then, and like a lot of the stuff is free. Like I use this a sound one called Audacity that's just amazing. Yeah. So there's that. And then I've actually changed. I was using Windows Movie Maker up until 5 weeks ago. And now I'm using Shotcut. And that's awesome. Yeah. And it's all free. Yeah. It's all free. So yeah, go figure.
Doug, look, I want to ask you a couple of questions about your band. So again, I'm going to make a point here. People go and check out Doug's channel. If you haven't subscribed and you're watching a replay, please do. There'll be some links here. We want to be the channel that helps Doug get 20. We want him to get 20.
Let's see where we're at. Let's see where we're at. I'm just gonna...
Where are you at, bro? But just talk to Brad and I a little bit about, and everyone in the chat too, obviously, about your band and your recordings and some of your experiences, if you don't mind.
Okay, before I do, I'm at 19,926 subscribers. So I need what was that, 74? I need 74 more people to get me over that line. Okay, so Alarum. Alarum has been a Melbourne prog thrash metal band for almost close to 20 years. Wow. I've been in the band for 10 years. I still consider myself the new guy. It's a 4-piece. Our bass player plays bass and sings, and he's a titan. He's like the death metal version of Geddy Lee. And we this the album that I'm on, Circle's End, was the 4th album that they've done, and they're just lovely dudes that live in Melbourne.
Do you write? Do you write any of the songs, or are you just the guitar player? And I don't mean it just like that.
No. I do write. I do write. Actually, the other guitar player, Scott, he's got over 250 songs. He writes like a madman, and he's really good at that. Pal, the bass player, writes as well. And for this next album that we're currently writing, we all go to Berwick, which is a suburb in Melbourne. We go to Pal's house in Berwick, and like every Sunday we lay down ideas, even if they're not really well thought out. Just here's a riff I had, and he'll have like Pro Tools running, and we'll just lay it down. And it's either, we'll either add more music to it or just leave it as it is. And at least we can kind of empty our brain of that particular riff. And after a while, we will have enough material for a song. The last album we did, which was Circle's End, we had Neil Kernan produce, and he did Dokken, Under Lock and Key. He's worked with Hall & Oates. I think he was Ringo Starr's first engineer way back in the day. Like Neil's probably about 60-ish or 65-ish. I don't know. And if I overestimated your age, dude, I'm so sorry. But so we're working with him, and I think we're going to be working with him on this next album we're doing. But so he helped out with the mixing, and he did a tremendous job. And so Alarum Circle's End is all over Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, all those things. And our website is alarum.com, ALARUM.com. And it's prog metal. We're using 7-string guitars, and there's a lot of yelling, and a lot of muted power chords, a lot of blast beats, that kind of thing. So if you're into that, hey, we'll play your child's 17th birthday party.
Have you got any gigs coming up, or have you got gigs coming up?
No, look, we need a drummer. So the guy we usually use, his name is Liam Weedle, and he's a tremendous death metal drummer. He's in a lot of bands, and he lives in Adelaide. So in terms of like writing new music with a drummer in mind, it's just not ideal. So we actually want to write music with a drummer in an actual recording or a rehearsal studio. So one of our buddies' bands is disbanding, and it's Jared from Desecrator. So we're actually working with him at the moment, and he's going to probably help us out live and even help with some ideas for the new album. But he's working out quite well, and we're not playing any gigs yet. And I guess we're in a good position to also say no to things we don't want to do. So we only want to do like special gigs and not just, Bendigo Hotel on a Monday or a Tuesday or something.
Yeah. That's funny because a lot of those places want you to play the weeknights when you know you're not going to draw a crowd, but they won't give you a hot seat night like a Friday or a Saturday or even a Sunday when you know you can pull a crowd, but they won't give it to you. So it's like a catch-22. You've got to really pick your mark, haven't you?
Yeah. And you know what? I'm just like in the business sense, I am just a guitar player, and I just defer to whatever Mark wants to do because he kind of runs the show. And it's like, look, just you don't need to ask me my permission. Just anything good, say yes to. I will. I'll give you permission to say yes for me because I'm a musician. I don't want to know about all the other stuff.
You're a good musician, mate. I wish I could find a couple of guys like yourself that would just go, yeah, do whatever you want. Whatever you say, I'll be all over it. Because most people have their ego and they don't want to do this, but they want to do this, and you got to compromise. It's very hard. It's funny because the older we get, I think the more flexible you become in a sense where you'll do whatever you want because or do whatever for the band, but it's harder when you get older because you've got more commitments. So it's kind of like that. balancing act. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm 53. I don't know. Like I'm pretty sure I would have maybe another 5 years of me until my chops, for whatever reason, are going to start to go down the other side, which is it's life. You age, and that's just the way it is. Ooh, Simon Hosford. Hi, Doug, or hi, all. Doug, pleasure to listen to your story, brother. I just subscribed to you also. Thanks, man. I'm about to run a family errand, so I can't join you guys just now. Hopefully later I'll be listening. He's a lovely dude. And we live not too far. We live pretty close together, but he's also like him and James Ryan they're like A-grade dudes, and they're probably extremely flat out all the time. But when you're not, dude, I could probably walk over to your house and we can just have a nice big Van Halen jam.
Oh, well, I can tell you what, Hosford's recent gig at the Corner Hotel with Fair Warning, with his band Fair Warning, was an amazing night, magical night. And, you can tell Simon's love for Ed is embedded. It's there. It's in his blood. Right?
Yeah. And he likes all the eras, which I find that is, I'm kind of stuck in one spot. But his love has no bounds, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, he's a brother and a good friend, and I've caught him up a few times now, and lovely guy.
Yeah, so, he's awesome.
Yeah, but well, when you start playing around in Melbourne, I'll come along and say g'day.
Yeah, it would be good to. I actually wanted to promote his gig on my YouTube channel, but then I realized that it was already going to be happening, so I couldn't do anything. And from what I hear, I wasn't able to go, but from what I hear, it was more or less sold out, packed to the gills. I had friends that went and they said the tone was incredible. The playing obviously is going to be incredible because he did that first one at the Corner Hotel, or no, he did another one where he did the first album from back to front, and just even on YouTube, that sounds amazing. That's the closest I've ever heard a live EVH sound, and he got it.
Yeah, well, that was a Melbourne Guitar Show. I was there, and I didn't really know Hosford at the time, but I watched it, and my jaw was on the ground. I was just like, wow, this guy's got it down pat. Like, And now, because I know Simon, I've seen him play. It's there. It's certainly puts you back in your place too when you see someone play that well. You go, I've got to go back to the woodshed now and start practicing.
Yeah, he's a badass, and every little success he gets is yes, of course he should. He rocks.
Yeah, and he's always busy, so he deserves it, which is great.
Totally.
Yeah, it was an interesting video to watch because, Brad and I had just touched base, Doug, and I saw it and I messaged Brad and I said, have you seen this? And he goes, yeah, I was there, and we're going, holy cow, and it was just phenomenal. And then it was just, just a blessing, I suppose, that we managed to touch base with Hoss in chats, and now he's part of the 5150 show, and he just gave us a little bit of insight into, how that went about. And he's just, using a Kempler Doug to do that, and they had issues. They didn't manage to have a sound check at the start. So, phenomenal, isn't it? Phenomenal when you consider all these things that a band would absolutely be horrified not having, a sound check, and just could you imagine that?
No, I couldn't. But then again, it's also part of the show must go on, and you just got to kind of take it on the chin and move forward, kind of thing.
Yeah. Hey, have you got? Brad mentioned it a little bit earlier before, but have you got plans with your band now that Australia is opening up, and touring? I know that like a lot of guys, we have day jobs, so taking a band on a tour, probably isn't going to be viable for a lot of us. But maybe for a weekend gig, is that something that you guys?
because we haven't played any of the new material, which is now kind of old material, to be honest. We haven't done any of that. So I think the first few shows we're going to do, and we'll do obviously like maybe Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. We'll probably do the whole album in track listing, just as a thing to do, and maybe a couple of other songs depending on how much time we have on stage. But yeah, there's definitely been talk. There's been gigs booked and then canceled, which sucked because we were dealing with other bands in other states, and then everybody's promoting, and then COVID hits and everybody's has a lockdown, and then it goes bye-bye, and then but yes, something's going to happen. And you know what? I'll plug the hell out of it on my YouTube, my Instagram, my Facebook, even. Just it'll when it happens, when I know,
Beautiful. Yeah, well, it's funny how COVID actually, put a lot of the brakes on a lot of things for people, including, people found it hard to write and all sorts of things through that period just because of their mindset. A lot of people I've spoken to didn't have the opportunity to, be creative during that time, because I think creativity is fed a lot of the time from when you play gigs. There's a lot of energy that comes back at you from a crowd. So you take that energy, and it's like what I say, it gives you a little bit of motivation, and you sit down and your creative flow sort of happens because you've got all this energy to put into something. But being stuck, in Melbourne in particular, we were stuck you were based in Melbourne at that time, Doug, like you were.
Yeah.
So we were locked down for such a long time that it became like a bit strange to leave the house. It became a little bit weird. So
it did.
You weren't really getting the opportunity to mingle or meet people or do anything that inspired you. For me, I found it was really hard to be creative. Even sitting down and really focusing on trying to be creative, it was very difficult. But started to play some gigs again and then all of a sudden the creative flow happens. I think it's just you get that. That's why it's so important that people support live bands, because you want more music to listen to. You go see the band, they give you more because they got so much to give. Then it's like this cycle, I think.
Yes, absolutely, it is a cycle.
Yeah,
you're getting off on the crowd, who are getting off on you, who are getting off on the crowd, and it's just this thing that just keeps going. It's like a massive circle that just keeps ping ponging off each other. And when you're only got half of that, it's gonna kind of put a big damper on things. I actually feel sorry for my wife, who was a forensic psychology student at Swinburne University, and she was truly in lockdown to where she couldn't leave the house. Whereas at least I was working in a warehouse at the time that dealt in cleaning products, so my job was essential. So I was still going to work a lot of the time. And I think she was in the house for more or less 2 years, and it was really affecting her mood. So I mean, I had it okay during, and then we saved a lot of money and that kind of thing. And she had it bad, and I'm sure people had it way worse than her, especially like small business owners and this kind of a thing. So everybody copped it on some level, and it's and COVID's been just a massive piece of garbage too, as well. But I think one of the good things that has come out of it is that people are rebalancing their life work balance type of deal, and they're like, this work thing isn't as great as I may have thought it was, and are quite happy to work from home. Actually, Victor works from home, and so and a lot of people in the States are just like, I work for a company, they're not paying me great, they're actually treating me really bad. I think I'm just going to quit and not do this job anymore. So now you got corporations and things hurting, because it's like, hey, you pay me garbage, you treat me like garbage, I don't have to take this. And companies are finding out the hard way that,
yeah, I'm glad
don't be a dick.
Because I mean, that's one thing we try to do on here, is always like look at the bright side of things. And I think, it was a good opportunity to reset, work out what's important, what's not, and just focus on the positives, like coming out of it. live entertainment seems to have flourished. It's been amazing. So the bad of COVID was the whole entertainment industry basically got shut down.
Yeah.
But the flip side of it is now people are actually going out. Like Hosford's gig was packed on a Thursday night. So,
Yeah.
that's a blessing. But that's because people now have been starved for so much to want to go out and watch a band and watch live entertainment. So, instead of putting it off now, they're doing it, which is fantastic.
And living in, I've spent 25 years. Excuse me. I've spent 25 years here out in Australia, and I got to say, it's one of the best live music scenes on the planet, and not just for rock and metal and this, but mass jazz and tribute bands, and it's all kind of within the city, and you could walk from one venue to the next kind of deal. And I mean, obviously clubs stay open till 3-4 in the morning, and it's just like the nightlife scene in Melbourne is off its head. So if you ever visit Melbourne, there's plenty to do. I love Melbourne. I mean, I just do.
Yeah, no, I agree that it's a pity that some of the iconic venues have had to sort of shut down, but the upside to that is other places pick up.
Yes, correct.
You know what I mean? So
yes,
the tragedy of an iconic venue not surviving, say, that COVID period, then other venues will pick up. And I've been blessed to have been able to play in some of the best venues in Melbourne, and it's unreal. So, it's unreal. But back to Van Halen, Andrew, you've got some questions you wanted to ask Doug. I wanted to. I'm itching at the seams to get to those questions. Did you want to go through those or?
Yeah, I'm just going to put in the chat because we've got some new cats in the chat. So guys, just give me a second. I'm going to paste Doug's channel here in the chat.
Boy.
So we got Keith Campbell, we got Mike Rogers in the chat joining us, Guitar Man 45.
Nice.
In the chat, guys, please go to this link here that I've put if you haven't already. There it is there. Subscribe to Doug's channel. He needs about 70 odd subscriptions for him to get 20K. So where are you now, Doug?
I'm checking right now as we speak. I'm on 19,929. So I need another 71 subscribers.
Okay.
Pretty please.
All right. Pretty please, everybody, if you can do that.
Yeah.
Doug, so you said at the beginning of the show that you're interested solely from a guitar playing perspective in the first 4 albums. I get that. I dig that. One of the questions that I want to ask you, and it's something that Brad and I and other co-hosts have spoken about, did you notice the tonal differences between Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2 when you first heard those 2 different albums, or was it something that you had to be led into hearing? Because I couldn't hear those tonal differences. I'm being honest. When I first heard those 2 albums, was that something that you heard instinctively, or was it again?
It was. Yes. Yeah, it totally was. Yeah. But I don't think it had to do with the actual tone of the amps or anything like that, because weren't 1 and 2 recorded in the same exact place?
Yeah.
Sunset Sound or whatever it was. I just thought that, I mean, the big difference, and well, here's how silly I am. I had no idea that he was even using a phaser until I read it in a magazine, because it's like that swirly, nice, and you pump it on for leads and that kind of a thing. So I had to read that in a magazine before I even knew it. And by that time I was maybe 20, 21, 22 years of age. But the only thing I can really tell production-wise between the first album and the second album is that I hear chorus on the second album. And I don't really hear any phaser on the second album that I can think of. But maybe, I know he used an Eventide harmonizer for Women in Love. But but tonally, it still does sound different. And I don't know did he use the same amps? Like, I don't know.
I'm not big on the equipment, Doug, but I tend to agree with what you're saying. I do like the guitar tone Van Halen 2 better than 1. I have to say that. I've always really liked the tone of that album, and I've loved Fair Warning as well. I love the guitar tone on that record as well. There's something nasty about that sound. It's a great tone.
Yeah, completely. I think my two favorites are maybe Women and Children First is probably my ultimate favorite out of those first 4 albums, and I think followed by Fair Warning. So it'll go Women and Children First, Fair Warning, 2, and then 1. But I mean, I love them all. Like, I've got a playlist with all those 4 albums, and I'll pluck out. I did take out Could This Be Magic and maybe Tora Tora because I just wanted to keep the music kind of going.
Awesome. So Keith Campbell's saying there's no plate reverb and a different mic setup on Van Halen 2. And cool. Jason Tong is saying that he used the same amp, his 6900 watt Plexi, on both albums. So clearly the distinctive tone variations between the albums, guys, came down to the effects, those pedals and mics, Brad.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Ed was he was always chasing tone, wasn't he? So I'm sure that would have something to do with on the second record, something changed. It would. Yeah. First record is probably gone, I don't like that. And in interviews later, he's always said he didn't like the tone on the records, those early records. He didn't like it because his ears changed over that period. Obviously, probably still didn't get quite what he wanted on the first 2 records. You know what I mean? Maybe the third and fourth got closer to what was in his head on record.
And not only that, but so I mean, their first album, that would have been the first. They would have had more experience on the second album. They would have been probably in and out quicker. And they would have probably been able to dial those tones quicker from, the previous album. But I like both. I probably like Van Halen 2's sound better than Van Halen 1's, but that doesn't mean anything. That's just my ear for me.
No, I'm big on the Van Halen 2 sound as well. For the early Van Halen era, I think it's great. That and Fair Warning. I always see Fair Warning as being like their darker sort of sound.
Yeah.
It's a bit darker, and I like that. I'm more into that sort of dark thing. And that's kind of why I like the Carnal Knowledge record, because I think it's like the Sammy era Fair Warning, if that makes sense. It's a bit darker.
Is Amsterdam on that album?
No, Amsterdam's on Balance.
Okay.
Balance is really good too. It's a bit darker as well, but so yeah. I mean, for
I'll have
me,
to check those out. It's hard. It's hard. I try really hard to get through a full album, and oh man, it's tough for me at times. But I'll just keep trying.
Think about what we say here on the Future One Future show. It's all Ed. Just think of that.
Yes, it is.
Keith Campbell says that Van Halen 2 seemed a bit more punk. I get where he's coming from. Maybe the guys were being a little bit more independent too there in the studio situation. But look, I agree with you guys too. I think Van Halen 2, certainly the tone. When I was schooled about it, when I understood the differences of what was happening and then went and listened to it, Doug, this is what's really interesting. And I want to ask you guys this question too. So we listen to something for years, and then we have a conversation or we read something about something that happened in the production of an album, and we go, that makes sense. And then we go back and listen to it again, and it's like a different listen, Doug. So do you experience that with a lot of the music that you listen to, when you find now there's a backstory behind some of the stuff? Is that something that you experience?
Yeah. I go to the point where if I'm reading a magazine about Van Halen and they're talking about songs, I'm listening to the songs. Like, I'll put it on my phone and find the songs so that I can have those songs in the background while I'm listening to somebody talk about those songs. I get pretty ADHD that way. I did know there was an interview with it was one of the Van Halen like a magazine, and they were doing a thing on it, and they were saying that Alex was upset with the drum recording and I'm the One because he thinks that one of his left bass drum wasn't mic'd properly. And I listened, I went back and listened to it. I think it sounded fine, but I think he was really perturbed about that. And he was mad at himself that he didn't have the gonads at that time to say something. He thought the mic jack wasn't plugged in properly or something to that effect. But look, I can't tell.
Mm. And I've read something about that too. And another song, I can't remember which one was it Panama or something in Panama? I can't remember now. But yeah, I've read that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do like that they talk about on Fools off Women and Children First when Eddie does the ba-da-boom, 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 and he hits the high A, and Alex is doing a, and they were so close in proximity because I don't think they were separated by partitions or anything, that you could hear Alex's drum roll in the pickup of Eddie's guitar, and you could kind of hear it. And you can hear it. You can hear that, which is really, really cool. Just the fact that they smashed out those songs, just playing them live is crazy. Like one take.
Do you think it has a big emphasis on the energy of those records? I mean, you talk about some of the later records might not have been done so much live. Like I'm sure they were in a room together, probably recording, but a lot more layering and color goes on. And as you know, in recordings these days, Doug, most of it's done to a click track. In those days, it was just recorded like the three guys in the band in one room, isolation booths, but they might be looking at each other and they're just going for it. And I think that's why those records have got a lot of energy, in my opinion.
100%. Yeah, totally.
Young kids sort of, very talented young sort of energy going on. And, it's interesting, like you could probably, if there were tapes floating around of alternate takes, they'd be very similar. What I'm saying is they were very well rehearsed, very tight, very, very quiet. And I don't know, something lacking in music these days is when bands don't actually record all their parts together, or at least the beds of the song. I think it's a lost, because
100%.
pictures of early Van Halen, and they're all standing in the room. Well, Mikey, Alex, and Ed are in the one room together. So that cohesiveness there is what we're hearing back. That's like an energy we're hearing. We're hearing that energy, not just music. We're hearing everything.
Yeah, dude. I think bands don't do that today is because they can't. Yeah. But just back then it was just three dudes jamming it out. They like knowing that stuff was done in the short amount of time they were done in, knowing that they're playing live from beginning to end with like minimal overdubs, especially with like some of Eddie's guitar stuff. Like that's incredible. That's mind blowing in itself, really. And he didn't overdub the solos. He overdubbed the other rhythm part, which is that's even more insane. So they were powerhouses, dude.
He only knew what to play, what they did live. So he had to work out the rhythm parts under it later. It's crazy.
Yeah, and even you can hear with the Gene Simmons demo, like I think Eddie might have double tracked some of his leads and whatnot. It's just not the same vibe as the way he did it on the first album.
No. Yeah, no, definitely lightning in a bottle captured there. Definitely.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, 100%. Like it's just, especially the first four albums in terms of like playing live. Like I don't know what they did with Sam, but like it's just for drums, bass, and guitar to just sound like that and that tight. They were just clicked into each other. I mean, obviously the two brothers and Michael. It's just a magic that you cannot force, and you can just hear it. It's badass. Like I am the cheerleader for early Van Halen without a doubt.
So what Andrew was saying before about your opinion might change based on a discussion you've heard or whatever. When we do these shows, Doug, we do sometimes we rank the tracks on an album, for example, and we'll
Yes.
go through and give our personal analogy of each track and why it inspires us and why we gave it that ranking on the album. The one thing that this show has done for me is given me a better appreciation for the things I didn't appreciate so much with Van Halen. So it's been great in that sense, because like I'll go back and, I've gone back and re-listened to Van Halen 3 with open ears based on what Andrew and one of the other co-hosts would say. I'd go back and actually, this is now making more sense to me than it did the first time I got into it, and I haven't listened to it since, So, I find that what I'm getting at is, if you were to do a ranking track, if we forced you back to do a ranking track on a Sammy album, it might change your mind.
Yeah, I would do that. I'd actually, and I don't know where I read it, but I read that like Ed was uber proud of that third album with Gary Sharon. So, and me and my friend, like I got an American friend who lives in Sydney, and he'd come down and we'd play it and we just goof on it. But since I read that, I've went back and listened to it, and I actually I like the song. So I would, I'd like to do anytime I can come back and do a ranking. Yeah, I'd totally be down for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll lock that in. We will take you up on that, because we would appreciate your insight. But talking about rankings, I hate to force you into this position, Doug, but it's okay. We always say that the list that we give today will always be changing tomorrow, so we're not backing you into a corner. We're not saying that you have to lock this in stone, but people love lists, and one of the reasons why they love lists is because they want to agree with it or completely kick you up the backside because they don't agree with it. But give us your top 5 Van Halen songs or riffs. People want to hear this, bro. If you want to share that information with us, I'd be grateful.
Okay. Well, what I've done is I've done Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2 from my least favorite song to but I can do the top 5 of each.
No. Give us your list, bro. Give us your list.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Do you want me to start with Van Halen 1 or Van Halen 2?
Van Halen 1, brother.
Okay, here we go. My least favorite song, You Really Got Me. It's only because, I mean, look, it's admittedly better than the Kinks one. I get it. Like, I love it, but it's pretty easy. And I don't know. Okay. Now, we're not talking Ed solos. We're just talking overall songs, because the next one on my list is Ice Cream Man.
That's okay.
Which, dude, listen, the solo is slamming. It's probably one of my top 3s for that album. But you know what it is, and it's my own limiting beliefs. But acoustic guitar reminds me of ballads, and it's just I hate ballads, so I don't like. I'm a metalhead, dude. Like I want metal rhythm from the beginning of the song all the way to the end. I'm not against dynamics, but I just don't like, I don't know. I don't like boogie blues, acoustic-y. That ain't my thing. 12-bar blues, I'm not into it. But look, I know the solo rocks. The one up from that, Running with the Devil. I do love the song very much, but as a kid, like I've heard that song probably realistically more than 1 million times. And I've had enough. And it's look, I got to be honest. But it's not like if I hear it on the radio, I'll change the channel. It's just like if it was somebody's birthday and I had to do a Van Halen thing because they love Van Halen, that's not going on it. It's not going on the playlist. One above that, Jamie's Crying. And I love Jamie's Crying. I think the backing vocals are stellar, but I also think this is kind of it's a little bit too happy for me. Well, Jamie's Crying. But I do love. I think Michael Anthony's backing vocals, his high range is incredible. And out of all the bad blood and all this kind of thing, like Michael Anthony comes out smelling roses because he's just been like this. He's been the same guy throughout all of it. And he's been like a total gentleman and not a jerk at all. And so I will always really hold that guy in high regard because he's just always been awesome.
Yep.
Okay. The one above that, Ain't Talk About Love. Good song. I've heard it a million times. The one above that, A Little Dreamer. I like it, but it's still, I want a bit of attitude. Feel Your Love Tonight. It's that whole, girl in car vibe. Like I don't know. Like I said, I'm a metalhead. I want aggression, not take my baby out and watch a movie and then maybe bang later. So, but look, like they're all great songs. Now we're getting to the good stuff. So Atomic Punk got a bit of an attitude. Nobody mess with me. I'm the Atomic Punk. I like a bit of flexing in the song, a little bit of you can't mess with me. It almost goes back to like rap, is that I'm greater than you. You are less than me. I can crush you in a fight. I am Atomic Punk. And I love that. All that good stuff. The one above that, On Fire, got a bit of energy. I love energy. I mean, I'm not into rock and roll because I don't want energy. The one above that is Eruption. That's actually number 2 on my list is Eruption. And that's just Eddie laying down the law for 1 minute and 27 seconds. And then the very top one is I'm the One, which is just, it's totally Ed's father's influence, that high. It's almost like jazz, really. It's jazz done in a rock and roll or a heavy rock context or whatever. But that song just rocks. That's such a really well-written song. And both of the solos in that, the first solo and the second solo, they both have their own personalities, and it sounds great. And like Alex Van Halen's such a good drummer. I think he's underrated, but he's the perfect blend of like hard rock, good energy, and like jazz swing feel. And yeah, dude, I totally rate Alex Van Halen as a drummer. And he's not like I can't say that. I don't want to back on Phil Rudd because I also love what AC/DC does. And I don't want to, but look, Alex Van Halen, I do think he is a perfect counterpoint to what Ed did. I think they're I think they're as good as each other in what they do, like Eddie. But I just think that for whatever reason, people love guitar heroes more than they love drum heroes. I could be wrong, but
I think your synopsis, Doug, of I'm the One is absolutely on point. The fact that you've made the connection between the Van Halens being inspired and motivated clearly by jazz and how that comes out on that song with the tempo change and the swing component that you talk about on your video that was made. We made a point about earlier in the show. Go back and check that, because the swing component that Doug is talking about obviously is a factor attributed to the drummer, and if the drummer doesn't have that swing component, it's not going to be picked up by the guitarist. And from a rock and roll point of view, one of the greatest mainstream rock and roll bands that do that really, really well is the Rolling Stones. They have that ability to swing the song. Top synopsis on I'm the One. I wish we could listen to that right now. I wish we could play I'm the One after Brad. After I'm surprised though that that's your number 1. I really thought I'm on Fire would have been your number 1, Doug.
Well, I mean, it's close. It's number 3. I just think I'm the One is just like, and like if Eddie can't swing, then Alex can't swing, and vice versa as well. So to have those dudes locked in like that, it's got to be a genetic thing, and it would be their dad. I almost said the F word, but yeah, it'd be their dad. And it's just like people talk about that energy and that vibe today, and that was done in '78. That's awesome. Like they just crushed like who were their contemporaries at the time, like Journey, Montrose, maybe. I was 78. I was still listening to Kiss, so I was still into like Love Gun and whatever. And then Van Halen came out. They just crushed everybody.
Yeah, I think
good on them for being badasses.
I got asked this the other day by someone close to me is like what made Van Halen like so magical? What made them so? And the only thing I can come up with is the two brothers had been playing together from a very young age, and I've mentioned this on other programs on here, where when Ed plays with other people, he's still Ed Van Halen. But when he plays with Alex, they've got this timing thing together. They've got this thing together. They knew each other so well. I think Ed would lift and play because his timing in his head was very much Alex. He knew what to play. So when I've heard Ed play with other drummers, it's not quite the same. It's probably, you might understand this more, Doug, than anyone, because you understand Ed so well. But his timing on guitar is not necessarily spot on a 1, on the 2, on the 3, on the 4, so on a 4 beat. He's playing between the beats with Alex. Alex was playing between the beat. Obviously, Alex's big influences were like Keith Moon and John Bonham were not necessarily like Bonham would always play behind the beat. So he had a bit of that sort of thing going on, but their father's influence of jazz and swing, or jazz, for example, and both of them coming from a different, like Ed was a drummer, and he I don't know how well of a drummer he was. And so his timing thing was in his head. And I think his timing was Alex in his head because they played together for so long. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. And apparently, he did a lot of 5-note runs, which obviously doesn't come back on the one each time. It actually goes to the second one and the third one. Yeah. But I think that, like, if Eddie had another appendage, it would have just been Alex, because he would have heard Alex in his head. Totally.
And I think that magic comes from, Mikey obviously was just right place, right time, and he was the right person for the job to fit with those two guys, because he just did what was needed to play with the drums and fill the holes. Yeah, he was perfect for that. Mikey was brilliant. He played off Alex so well, but most bands, it's always the bass player and drummer are tight together and the guitarist is playing on top, where I think it was more Alex and Ed, in my opinion, especially in the early days, were more the rhythm section, even though Ed plays the lead and stuff, but rhythmically, they were like the rhythm section.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I can't add to that because you've said it perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's just my opinion, and everyone's got one. So, like, I could be wrong, but that's just how I see it.
It's exactly how I see it as well. Yeah, and their bond was just, it's like they were awesome apart, but when you put that together, there's another component, or there's another sprinkle of magic or something that's just takes them to the stratosphere. And Mike was maybe like the glue or the water that just kind of went all around it to just round it out to be this machine.
So there was this unique chemistry going on between the three of them when they played. That was very unique. So, and being multi-instrumentalists, like they all could play a little bit of something else. I think that has a big part of it as well,
Yeah.
Ed being a piano player on the guitar, it's a big part of his playing on the guitar was because he's a piano player. Some of those stretches, so I'm trying to do them, but like between his first and fourth finger were insane, but that was a lot to do with his piano playing, I think.
That and the fact that he liked Holdsworth, and I think it was kind of like monkey see, monkey do. And Alan had big stretchers, and it's like, well, if you stretch between here far enough, you can get this note to be higher than this note, and then when you mix them together, it'll just mess with your brain because the order of it no longer sounds like a scale. It just sounds like a really bizarre idea. But I totally get what you're saying, and I totally agree. And when you know another instrument, you kind of write in a way to where you're not going to step on other people's toes. So that also helps.
Yeah. I've always been a big fan of 3-piece bands too, even though 4-piece band being the vocalist. But I've always been a big fan of like guitar, bass, drums being the beds. Like it's just like there's so much space, but there's air for the song to have energy. If that gives,
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
I totally get it.
Trios,
I
for
totally get what you're
example.
saying. Yeah. Like a three piece is perfect for jamming kind of a thing. And everybody's got their own area. I, on the other hand, because I'm in thrash, I'm a 2-guitar guy all the way.
But
What-
that's
so- yeah,
a whole nother thing. Like the 2-guitar thing. If 2 guitarists play well together, it sounds amazing.
yeah. And it just depends on the era. And yes, I totally agree. And that something does make me feel a bit weird when a guitar player does a solo and there's no rhythm and it's just bass and drums underneath. But then again, it gives them the freedom to go nuts, and so it works really well in a jam situation, which Van Halen were in the beginning. At least they did, like they would stretch out bottoms up something fierce. There's footage of it on YouTube that's absolutely incredible. So yeah, I totally get it.
If you guys disagree or agree with Doug's choice of number one, if you're watching a replay, leave some comments in the video and we'll come back to it. Doug might come back and either give you guys a thumbs up or
I'll crush you. I'll crush you with my thrash metal right hand. We still haven't done Van Halen 2 yet. I forgot.
Well, that's my next question, bro. So fire through your rankings on Van Halen 2 for us, brother.
Okay. My least favorite song on Van Halen 2. Have a guess. Since you've seen me do Van Halen 1, have a guess what you think.
Dancing in the Streets.
That is not on Van Halen 2. But if you said Dance the Night Away, I would have said
sorry,
correct.
Sorry.
Dancing in the Street?
You know I meant that. That's the night.
I did know you meant that. I did.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. No. Totally cool. I get it. Women in Love is next. My second least favorite song. Only because, look, the intro's awesome.
Yes.
But it's just women in love. I don't know, as a metalhead, I don't want to hear about. And apparently it's two women that are in love with each other and they dump the guy, or one of them dumps the guy to go with a woman, is what Eddie said in some early Van Halen 2 interview.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't care, but that's all right. It's still a good song. I still love it, but I just love it less as the others. One up from that is going to be Somebody Get Me a Doctor, which look, I do love. I love the solo, but I had to put these in somewhat of an order, but a lot of them are tied for first. Up above that, You're No Good, even though it was the first song I heard. Look, it's somebody else's song, and that I could kind of see where Ed would say, I'd rather, flop on my own, my own dime than get somewhere on somebody else's. So I get that. Above that, DOA, even though I love the solos. Above that, Beautiful Girls, even though I love it. Bottoms Up is number 4. I love Bottoms Up. I think that solo at the end is just awesome, and it's an Eddie Van Halen box in A. So anyway, the one up above that, Spanish Fly, I just love that. I think he jams. Out of Love Again is number 2. Out of Love Again is great. The solo's mad. And I love the vibe of that song. And Alex is going off his head. And my favorite song off Van Halen 2 is Light Up the Sky, just because I love Light Up the Sky, especially that part right before the solo where it sounds, ooh, I want to see the fire. I don't know. Just takes me to a different place. But, and the thing that's funny is that all the really good footage of the early days is done in Fresno at the Fresno Cellular Arena. And I was living in Fresno at the time and just had no, cause I was 9 years old and, I didn't know about Van Halen well enough to want to go see him. And even if I did, who's going to take a 9-year-old kid to a concert? My parents weren't cool enough to do that. So what are you going to do? I get to watch it on YouTube whenever I want.
The wonderful thing about YouTube, yeah?
Yeah, I spend When I'm not watching Van Halen stuff, it's either great white shark documentaries, cuttlefish and cephalopod, octopus and squid documentaries, or it's like paranormal stuff, or it's Vinny Colaiuta, the drummer Vinny Colaiuta, which I love watching him play because he's mad. He's sick, that guy. Vinny Colaiuta.
Awesome.
Man. Get into Vinny.
Awesome. Guys, I'm just looking at the time here. We've been on here with Doug for an hour and 40 minutes. If you guys are watching a replay, please make sure you subscribe to our channel, of course, too, but also Doug's channel. If you've got any questions now,
lay them down.
We're going to wrap it up. If you guys want Doug to come back and hang out with us when Hoss can make it, please ask Doug in the chat now to come back, because we'd love to have Doug back, but I'm sure you guys have to help motivate him to come back and hang out with us.
Actually, maybe we can do the next one, and I'll be at Simon's house if we live close.
Yes,
we live
Even
close.
better.
Why not,
Even
mate?
better.
Why not, mate?
Why not?
Yeah,
So
we'll jack it up, I'm sure.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
So Keith has just asked, show us the back of your star guitar. Come on, Jim.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
I do have an amp as well. It's this guy. I should just plug it in and let you hear it. Because
plug it in. Play some riffs, bro.
The actual pickup is a Shaler Hot Stuff that we got off Victor's friend for like $50. People always think it's some sort of Hot Rails, and it's not. Oh, but he wants to see the back. So I will just quickly move this. Come on, don't get caught up in the whammy bar. Here, I'll move this mic over here for a tick. So this is the back, and there's actually a playlist in my YouTube of Victor painting this guitar, like, I don't know, 13 years ago or something. Let me see if I can. Let me mess this up. I'm never good at that, but yeah, this is the old Rusty Trusty. Yeah, I have not warmed up. But
Wow.
cheers, big ears.
Wonderful, wonderful.
That's that. Cool.
Doug, do us a favor.
Yes, sir.
Check your channel, please. Where's your sub list? Please.
Yeah, here we go. YouTube Studio, the new count, ladies and gentlemen, we're at 19,933. So I only need 67 more subscribers. Come on, guys.
So you're picking up a couple. You're picking up
I
a
am.
couple. That's good.
Yeah, I was at 19. I was at 919, and so we're at 933. So that's good. That's better than what it was earlier. So I'm stoked.
Awesome. We want to help you get there, brother. We'll do everything that we can. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you.
Dude, anytime.
Please come back and go. We'll organize something with Hoss. If you want to hang out with Hoss and do a live stream with us, in a couple of weeks' time, and maybe feed that into a celebration for you getting 20,000 subs.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I know that you're going to be doing something like that on your own channel, though, anyway, but we certainly want to be part of that because, like I said to you at the start of our show, you know, Keith, who's in the chat, has been following you for years. There's been a lot of guys, Tim Thomas, a lot of people know who you are. I've
That's
been
awesome.
following you since 2000 and
Finder Guru.
Yeah. You got it, bro. For a long time, and always appreciated the shout outs that you did too. You know, to people. So I learnt a lot from Doug. You know, just be cool and say hi to people. And I think back then your channel, you didn't even have 10,000 back then, Doug. I think you're about 4,000. You know, back then.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna do? You just keep plugging away until you either die or you get where you need to go. I'm a very positive guy.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to ask you guys, please, to again subscribe to Doug, follow Doug. I'm going to include all his social media links on this channel. So go back there and follow Doug. He's on Instagram as well, and he may even friend you on Facebook if you ask nicely.
You don't even have to ask nicely. I just hit accept. I'm actually coming up to 5K, so I don't know how long I'm going to be able to accept people. So you're getting close. You're getting close.
Okay, I'll put that link. In fact, guys, go and find him and get there now. I'm going to ask Brad to say a couple of things, and then I'll give you the last word, Doug, and wish everybody well. Thank you for hanging out with us, guys. Come back and see us. We're going to be on tomorrow and on Monday, and we'll be back with Doug in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully, if he can organise something with Hoss. Brad?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, Doug, thanks for joining us. I've had a ball listening to you talk and everything you've had to say. It's been great, mate. So thank you so much for joining us.
Ditto. Thank you very much, dude. I've had an absolute blast.
Yeah, no, it's been fun. And look, everyone that's watching this episode later, please go and subscribe to Doug if you haven't done so. We get a lot of views later too, Doug. So, you know, you might get a ton more subscribers out of this yet to come. So hopefully it does.
I'm not stressed at all. I'm appreciative of every single subscription, and it only helps me to light a fire under my tushy to do more Van Halen stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of starting to do songs off of 5150, to be honest. I don't know though. I don't know. Don't push me in a corner. I'm thinking about it.
You're gonna have to go and get that album back off is it your ex-girlfriend?
Yeah. Hello, Carla Johnson. Yeah, she's on my Facebook still. We're still friends, and she's a veterinarian, so she's done well.
Okay, so there's a couple of things, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it first on the 5150 show that Doug Steele Guitarist might do some 5150.
Oh. Did I just paint myself into a corner?
On his channel. And was she one of the girls that used to ring your house and ask to speak to you because you had a radio voice? Was she one of those girls? Because
no, but I know who that was. Laura Capitolo and Sandy Manini from high school. Yeah, they thought I had a sexy voice. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Well, your eyes closed. What's all this right here? You know, my eyes are up here.
Well, I must say you have got a very, very masculine radio voice. Let's say that.
Thank you. I used to work on Triple M way back in the day.
I know you did. Yeah.
And a lot of people thought I was a black man, which I couldn't get that, but I was like, hey, that's cool. That's awesome. It just deepens the mystery. So I was all for it. I'm a Martian. Yeah, that's cool too. However you want, whatever it takes, you know. But Yeah, dude, Triple M Radio. Yeah, that was a long time ago. That is another interview entirely.
Wow.
Australian
All right.
radio.
Yeah.
It was a mixed bag, trust me.
All right, guys, we're going to cruise. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Doug, we'll see you soon, brother.
Take care, you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Don't go. Stay here. We're going to play the end video, and then we'll just debrief. Cheers, brother.